Hello everyone and welcome to episode 5 of the Nethergreen Podcast. Today we'll be talking about Iron Man and
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
And just general stuff. We did a commentary track for Iron Man yesterday, which will be up at the same time as this episode, and we'd very much recommend you take the track and you use it and you watch 2008's and you watch 2008's Man of Iron, starring Downett Robert Jr. and Greg Paltrow. No, it was a fun film, but yeah, we'll talk about it properly. But first, as always, this recurring segment that I like to call How are you, Hector?
How are you?
It's the most recurring segment of the podcast where I just ask you how you doing, pal.
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're sat in your room currently.
Hey, okay, he's saying such things, but there's no evidence of that, alright? Don't believe him. That's a lie. That's fucking Chinese propaganda, mate. We're not in my room.
We could be anywhere.
We're in an official studio for this shit. This is a professional podcast, and we're in Pinewood Studios right now.
Yeah.
In that ADR department. Yeah. The guys in the room next to us, they're working on the 5th and 6th Avengers movies. They haven't even been announced yet. So, you know, we're big deals.
Yeah, and spoilers, those are coming out, you know.
Yeah, those are coming out. We're in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoilers. Yeah. We play the new Iron Man. and that's how it is. There's 2 of us, and at no point is it mentioned that we are explicitly both the same character. Yeah. But we are. We're both just playing the same one man in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that one man, if it was Iron Man, would be little Tony Stark. Because Tony is the Iron Man. Which again, we just watched. What did you think? It's been a while since you watched it.
I thought it was very nostalgic.
It is an incredibly nostalgic film. It is. And I've said it before, came out the same year as Dark Knight. A fact that has consistently blew my mind for as long as I can remember, really. And yeah, and it's just a big barrel of laughs. And we'll talk about it. But let's get into the little bits first. So, and then another thing that happened though, we did, because I had to miss last week's episode, I was sick. Luckily, as the audience will know, we managed to record an episode. You'll know too, Hector, I just realised you'll know.
I was there.
Yeah, we recorded an episode with Dan and Moose, which was a special episode. I was planning on holding it until next week, which was going to be this week. But things changed. I got sick. I got better. I'm alive.
You're alive.
I feel free.
You're free from the wicked curse.
But yeah, and what can I say, you know? What can I say except
you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, and because of that we have a episode of Rick and Morty. Not 2. It would be 2, but remember this week's episode, for you at home, this week's episode was already talked about in episode, I think it was 2 of the podcast, where it was, this is the one that was leaked.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? We were like, oh my god, an episode leaked. It'll be out in a couple of weeks. It's out. It's today. Yeah. The future is now.
We essentially missed out.
Well.
We didn't get it. We just watched it too soon, you know. Ruined it for ourselves.
All I can say is, episode 7 is done. We talked about it, but we have yet, on this podcast, in an official capacity, a professional manner, to discuss episode 6. I think it's like a Rick's Giving More, or something like that. It's about a Thanksgiving, so it's definitely got Thanksgiving in the name, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Rick's Giving.
Yeah.
But I don't know the proper title of this one. And yeah, this one was fun.
It was good. I enjoyed it more than, you know, the incest baby.
Yeah, the incest baby and the Planetina. And I'd even go as far as to say this one is like, yeah, I'm not to say those were bad, but I'd say this episode was better than the Cenobite one or the multiplication one. Like, yeah, I thought this was like a classic Rick and Morty, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's one step off fucking a pickle Rick. It's a turkey Rick.
Turkey
you know?
Rick.
Eventually,
and Turkey Obama.
yeah, and we got Turkey. Well, I don't know if it's actually. I don't know if they've said his name. I don't know if it is Obama, but
I'm calling him Obama.
but he has to be based on somewhat on Obama because like when he first was introduced, it was like 2015, and Obama was still president. So yeah, like it has to kind of be him. And yeah, and he's voiced by a actor called Keith David. Who have you ever heard of him?
No.
He's a great guy. He is. And he's in, I've told you about Community before, which we will eventually watch. He's in season 6 as like a live action main cast member. So you finally put a voice to, a face to the voice. Yeah. And man, yeah, he has a proper noble voice. He really works as a president. And yeah, he just seems like a cool dude. Yeah. And honestly, he is one of my favourite recurring characters. Like when he first appeared in Get Swifty, it was like, okay, I dig it. Then he appeared in the season 3 finale and had that like war with Rick.
Mm.
And I think I said this to you when we first watched it. While I didn't think at the time that was like a great season finale, I still thought it was a great episode of like, you know, Rick versus the president. I thought that was pretty fun, you know.
Yeah.
He doesn't appear at all in season 4, I think, which they do. They do that. Fucking, you know, Evil Morty might not appear this season and didn't appear in season 4 either.
Yeah, because characters come and go, you know. Some of them will be in some seasons. Some of them won't.
So yeah, the president missed out on season 4, but then he's been in 3 episodes this season. I believe he had a cameo in episode 2, the decoy one. I don't know why. I distinctly remember him having a cameo in that episode. But he then properly appears in episode 4, which we've lovingly just called. I think the entirety of the world has just lovingly referred to it as the Incest Baby episode. Forget its name. This is the Incest Baby episode. Yeah. And then, yeah, he takes a couple of weeks breaks and here he is. And yeah, it's a fun little story, this one. One of my favourite parts about it is the idea that this is a regular thing. So Rick and Morty accidentally destroy the Constitution and release like a robot assassin in the Statue of Liberty. And Rick is like, well, we've just committed a federal crime. The president's going to be on us. I'm going to have to get pardoned. And how else am I going to do that than by doing what I have done for years, which is turn myself into a turkey and get a presidential pardon on Thanksgiving, which is based on a real thing. I don't think it's like a recurring thing, but there was at least one time where the president, like as a joke, I don't remember which one, but he did pardon the turkey that they were going to have in case he had committed any crimes. Like
what in a previous episode?
No. In real life, an actual president has pardoned his turkey before. Yeah, yeah. So that's what it's based on.
Nice.
Mm. And yeah, this one I thought it was pretty fun because unlike with let's say a pickle Rick, we actually got a fucking little turkey Morty and a little turkey president. We got many turkeys. We had that entire squadron turn into turkeys and get PTSD.
We got Turkey Rick, but we also got human turkey. You know, Obama turkey.
Obama turkey. That's true. And Obama turkey versus Turkey Obama. Yeah. You know.
Oh my god!
It was like it was. Yeah, I thought it was a really fun episode.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say for it is that. Because, yeah, I do think it was a return to form. Yeah. And because episode 7, which we've already seen, it was late. Again, that one was pretty alright, I remember. So, what I hope it is, because I think we've both been a bit divisive on Series 5. Hopefully, because, yeah, we're getting into the back half now, 6 and 7. Hopefully the back half of this series is fucking ace to make up for the top half. Yeah. Is all I can say.
I guess we'll see.
Like 6 was great in my opinion. Again, we reviewed 7 ages ago. We both thought it was fine. We both just couldn't believe that they did bring the Incest Baby back, which I confirmed they very much did. Yeah, it was the exact same episode that leaked. It was supposed to air this week. That was all real, and everything we said is still accurate to this day. Especially what I said about it being really weird how they threw in that line. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago when we had that Incest Baby? Like you knew how much that was going to be hated, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah. And yeah, all I can say is hopefully the back end of this season is an improvement because, this front end, and it was the same with Series 4, but Series 4 it was a bit more obvious because there was a big break in between the first 5 and the last 5, if you remember. Like they did like a good couple of months in between the last series. where they did 5 and then they did 6 to 10.
I can't remember, but yeah.
Well, it was like 2019, so yeah, a year ago now. Centuries ago.
It was a long time ago.
Pre-pandemic, but no, actually, it wasn't was it pre-pandemic? I don't think it was. I think it was on the cusp of the pandemic. Like, I think the first 5 of Series 4 aired in 2019, and the last 5 was in early 2020, I believe. I remember there was like a single pandemic reference in Series 4 of Rick and Morty, which is crazy.
There might be.
But there is a reference to pandemic
we have been in
Series
lockdown
4.
for a long time.
I know, right?
It's been a long time.
67 years, Rick and Morty.
67
fucking
years,
pandemic Morty.
It's a pandemic special.
It's a pandemic special!
I mean, they should do that, you know. South Park did it, can't they?
Well, to be fair, maybe they technically, like, have. If you have episodes where it's just Ricks and Mortys dealing with each other, that's not technically, that's self-isolation. You're with yourselves. It's the ultimate selves-isolation. Selves-isolation! Yeah, and yeah, I thought it was a fun episode. Much better than The Sperm. And again, we've argued about the episode, but in my opinion, much better than Planetina. That is still my least favourite of the series so far. I still would rather watch the Sperm episode again.
I would put them in the other order. So
yeah,
I'd say the Sperm one's the worst, and Planetina is better than that.
And you know what's good about our community? You're allowed to think that, you know.
You're allowed to have your own opinion.
Because we're a good community of people, you know.
Yeah.
And you may notice how often I'm now using this word, community.
Yeah.
Man, you need to watch Community. You will love it.
I've seen some of it.
You've seen like 6 episodes. And alright, so one of the best things that Community does, and it's something that Rick and Morty do occasionally, but Community, in my opinion, not only do it a lot more, which isn't an opinion, as a fact, they do, but they also perfected it. It's taking a genre and actually, like, properly doing. Like, Community have had so many genre-driven episodes. They did a war episode about paintball, where it's like, you know, an actual war. And they then did a second one about paintball, where it was like Western and then Star Wars. It was a 2-part. They've done Mafia, they've done horrors, they did a full-scale zombie thing, they've done animated episodes. Like, Community, the entire idea of it is, and every so often they'll just look at a genre. They'll take apart every single trope of that genre and be like, what is this? Why is this the way it is? Rick and Morty do that sometimes. I feel like, I mean, yeah, Pickle Rick is like, you know, it's fundamentally like an action movie. It's like a John Wick parody. Yeah. Lawnmower Dog was a parody of Inception, and Scary Terry, that was like, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. Episode 7, Goatron, was a Mafia one. Like, they do genre subversion quite a lot, but Community, man, no. Series 1 to 3 of Community is not only some of the best TV I've ever seen, but I've never seen genre subversion done quite as well as it has been on Community. Like, they have, because that's the thing, they actually do like rapidly change their genre sometimes. They always make it land. It always still works in the world, and it's always still funny.
Well, I'll have to give it a watch. I mean, I've seen some episodes of Community, but yeah, no. Generally, I just don't watch enough to have enough.
It's true. We'll have to give it a watch one day.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. But there is something that we did also watch recently, and that was Iron Man.
The Iron Man.
The original one, the first entry point for Marvel into the cinematic universe.
It's true. And you know what? Because me and you, Hector, are such nice guys. For anyone listening to this now, we've already mentioned it, but if you haven't watched Iron Man and you haven't listened to the commentary track, go and do it. We don't want you fucking leave us alone with our lives and our commentary and our reviews, and you go and do whatever the fuck you want, because we don't want you here if you've never seen 2008's Iron Man.
I mean, let's be honest. What would your reaction be if you actually met a person who hadn't seen Iron Man or didn't know what Iron Man was? That's even worse.
That's worse.
Imagine if you met a person who's like, what's Iron Man? Who's Iron Man? Do you think it's actually possible?
Because of Avengers, no. But because of Avengers, I do think it's possible to meet someone who's not watched an Iron Man film. but like someone who's only watched the Avengers films.
Right, yeah.
You know, someone who, the MCU? Nah, mate, that's just the Avengers films. There's only 4 of them, isn't there? Like, I can imagine someone like that existing. He's never seen a Solo movie. He's just sitting in the cinema, like just looking up at the screen, just like, this all looks cool. Like, with no actual knowledge of what's happening. I can totally imagine that guy out there. And I know you're listening to this, that guy. Go away and watch Iron Man.
Watch Iron Man. It's a good, it's a good good standalone movie.
We're nice. We'll wait.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 2-hour movie, so we're going to have to wait a bit. But
We'll just sit here in silence, respectfully, for 2 hours on the podcast.
Yeah, you don't even have to pause the podcast. Just let it play.
Just let
we're
the
going to wait
podcast
for
play.
you.
For the next 2 hours, we'll just wait for you.
This is too long! Just go and pause it and watch it. God, we're not your dads. Have you watched it? I'm talking to you, Hector. Have you watched it?
Oh no, I haven't. We'll have to go back and watch it.
Oh yeah, okay. We're gonna watch it, and we're also gonna rewatch our commentary track.
Yeah, at the same time, so I can see how I would be reacting to.
We're gonna record a new one on top of it. It's gonna be like 2 of us and 2 of you, just talking.
Oh my God, it's gonna be like the By Burnham.
Yeah.
bit
No, actually, that'd be even. Yeah, we're commentating on our commentary. Yeah, just like, Bradley, why'd you say that? God, that's just a dumb joke. Yeah, let's get into it, because it was. I mean, there's a reason. Like, the closest example to the MCU, and you haven't seen as many of them, is the DC EU, the DC Extended Universe, which isn't the Dark Knight. That's the one that begun with Man of Steel and Zack Snyder. So Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, Justice League. Mm-hmm. When you look at Man of Steel, which started that cinematic universe, and you compare it to Iron Man, it's like chalk and a less chewy chalk.
What metaphor are you trying to do here?
The actual metaphor is chalk and cheese. Okay. I thought that'd be funny. But it's true! Like, man, if you want to build a cinematic universe, you don't start off big. Because that's one thing you can very much say about Iron Man. This is an incredibly small stakes movie. Like, the main threat isn't Obadiah Stane is going to rule the world. No. He's taking over Stark Enterprises. He's trying to push Tony out of the business.
It's grounded. It's more grounded and real. And like, considering this was like one of the first, like movies, MCU.
One of the first movies.
one of those one of the first movies in that genre of like superheroes that they wanted to be on like like widespread big screens. Yeah. I felt like if they went too superhero, people might be, the majority of people might be like, oh, this is so nerdy, and not be interested in it. But I think because they kept it kind of like grounded and real, it kind of brought more people into it.
I'd very much agree with that, but it's also a case of like, you kind of, because like, right, so at this time, it was Marvel Studios' first film, like Marvel as a company, but they've been licensing out their characters for years. Do you know the first Marvel movie ever? Do you know what the first Marvel movie is, Hector?
The Amazing Bulk.
You wish it was The Amazing Bulk. But guess what? It is a movie that is debatably known as just as bad as The Amazing Bulk. One of the worst movies of all time.
Oh no, and that is?
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Okay, let me quickly go on to a little tangent about Howard the Duck. Because Howard the Duck is in the MCU. He appears in the Guardian films. He's voiced by Seth Green. He's fucking Chris from Family Guy. But the idea of him is actually, I'm not going to lie to you, dude. It's in the name. His name is Howard. He is a duck. He is a walking, talking, usually in the comics, mildly swearing and smoking and cussing and drinking duck. He's basically Duckpool. He's like a little Deadpool duck.
What does he do?
Well, that's kind of the thing. With a name like Howard the Duck, quickly guess what his superpowers are.
He's a duck.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's it. He is a duck. He's not a super strong duck, and he doesn't like control ducks. He is a duck. And his fighting, the way that he... Alright, so imagine someone told you that they had made a pun on a normal fighting style to make it the fighting style of a duck, quickly come up with a pun, because I imagine the first one you come up with could be air. Think of fighting styles for a duck. It's the most dumb pun. Are you ready? You want to hear it?
Yeah.
He knows quack fu.
Oh, quack fu.
Yes. Which is duck kung fu. And yeah, this movie came out in the 80s. Not only that, this was a George Lucas produced movie.
Really?
And I think it was like pre or like during the kind of era of Star Wars. Like, and yeah, man, I can't stress to you how bad this one is. Like, the original Howard the Duck movie, awful. But yeah, that was just a little tangent. So yeah, apart from Howard the Duck, they'd also had Spider-Man and X-Men and Blade and Ghost Rider. But we can forget those two, because those two are actually really irrelevant nowadays, especially. Yeah, imagine anyone nowadays being like, who remembers Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage?
Hey man, you want to come around and watch some Ghost Rider?
Hey man, I just got the 2 Ghost Rider movies on Blu-ray. Let's go do a little marathon right now. Yeah, so they had Spider-Man and X-Men. Now, here's the thing. Have you ever wondered why it was fucking Iron Man that they started with?
I haven't wondered that, no.
Because it is actually... Because it's... And from the outside, it is a weird choice. You've got to remember, we only know about Iron Man now because of the film. Before the film, Iron Man was a complete nobody. You know, no one gave a shit about Iron Man. No one also gave a shit about Robert Downey Jr., which is perfect casting. You know, if you actually think about it. Because, yeah, it's true. But it's true. No one gave a shit about Iron Man. The reason why they had to start with Iron Man is for 2 reasons. One, they gave out most of their best characters. Again, Spider-Man was completely out of their hands. It was in Sony's. The X-Men, they had some mutants, like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, who they did eventually bring in, but they couldn't actually do like a mutant film with like a Wolverine or Professor X or something. The only characters they had, like properly, that they were willing to use were the original 6 Avengers and Ant-Man. Here's a fun fact about Ant-Man, because the movie eventually comes out at the end of Phase 2. Ant-Man was supposed to be one of the Avengers. He was going to be in Phase 1. He was going to have a movie before Avengers. He was going to be in that circle.
Yeah.
The only reason he isn't is because Ant-Man was originally going to be made by Edgar Wright, who did Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Which, by the way, if that happened, that would have been the best Marvel movie of all time. But it didn't. They fired him for creative differences. And because they fired him, they had to find a new director, and so the movie got pushed way, way back. But yeah, if that had happened and history was on track, the first MCU movie could have been an Ant-Man with Edgar Wright. But yeah, and because, so the reason they ended up going properly with Iron Man is because if you look at the other 6, you know, not considering Black Widow and Hawkeye, because they were never going to get the solo movie originally, you know. Imagine starting the MCU with a Hawkeye movie. That'd be insane. So you had Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man. Hulk did get a movie the exact same year. The Incredible Hulk came out in 2008.
That was an early one.
So yeah, they were working with it. The main reason they didn't do that one immediately first is because there was also a Hulk movie in 2003 that was shit. Hulk fights a giant cloud. Is how that movie ends, and that cloud's also his dad. It's been a long time since I saw that one. That one really is batshit. So yeah, so Hulk was coming out anyway, so they weren't going to do him first. But yeah, then you have Iron Man versus Thor and Captain America. Like, no, one is a lot more grounded. Like Captain America, when they did eventually do it, it had to be a period piece. It had to be set in World War One. And eventually, when they were able to do it, it was because we finally, we knew enough about the universe to be able to go back in time like that, you know? Now, imagine starting out the MCU with Thor. I feel like the tone of the MCU changes dramatically if you start out with alien elements and on another planet.
Yeah.
Like, not in the 4th movie. Boom. Introduction. Thor. Like, this is Marvel now.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think Iron Man, well, he was... And arguably it would have been safer back then to actually do that. Like, if they had started out with a Thor movie instead of an Iron Man movie, I feel like money-wise it might have been safer. Like, I feel like Thor did have more fans than Iron Man did back in the day. Dude, the movies completely reinvented their images. They were complete C-list superheroes. No one gave a shit about Iron Man. No one had given a shit about Iron Man since the Civil War comic book back in whenever that came out. Alright? Like,
yeah, so I mean, they must have just done it for wider appeal to like get more people into the franchise.
yeah, they did that, and the fact that like they knew they wanted a cinematic universe because that's literally what the comics is. Like, that's the idea of the comics. Anyone could appear at any time. You can have like variety of comics with different versions of characters and all that shit. They wanted to do like a comic universe in films, and they'd had like Kevin Feige, who does MCU shit. You know, he's the head of the MCU. He worked on Spider-Man and X-Men. He was a producer on those films, so he did help craft those films. But not only that, he got to learn from their mistakes. He got to see where those ones went wrong. Yeah. So that when he eventually got the reins of it with Iron Man and, you know, the proper MCU, that it wasn't, you know, it was a great fucking introduction to the universe. It really was. It couldn't have been done. I would say it couldn't have been done any better. But I suppose technically, Hector, that's up for debate. Let's talk about Iron Man properly. Let's do it. Iron Man time, baby.
Iron Man, baby.
It's Iron Man time. This is an Iron Man episode. So, the movie has the classic opening. He's in the fucking truck. He's with the soldiers. Bombs away. Shit starts getting real. He gets this Stark Industries missile land next to him. Boom.
Shrapnel in his chest.
He's like, oh. Ow! He's really hurt by this shrapnel.
He's been defeated.
And then, as he seems, like... I don't actually remember how that happened. Does he... He, like, passes out, and then they just take him.
He passes out, and he wakes up. He wakes up there.
Yeah, he doesn't, like, stumble away or anything. Yeah, no. He passes out. They take him, he wakes up, he's surrounded by fucking...
terrorists.
Yeah. I mean, alright, so I'm gonna say Al-Qaeda. It's not. It's the 10 Rings of the Mandarin, because I know this.
Yeah.
Don't question me, audience. But I am going to call them Al-Qaeda for this once, because if you think about it, that probably was, like, it was 2008. That probably, reference, yeah, that probably was exactly what they were going for. They wanted the feeling of, like, an Osama bin Laden led kind of, like, thing. Like, because they didn't do the Mandarin in this movie, because they knew that was a big one. Like, even when they did do the Mandarin, they didn't do the Mandarin. The Mandarin is a big bad. Like... Yeah, like, if they had done him in the first Iron Man, which is good that they didn't, because if they did, he wouldn't have been what he's going to be, which is, like, those 10 rings are like little infinity stones, man. He's a powerful guy. I feel like it would have been a straightforward, like, Osama-like person, if you know what I mean. He wouldn't have been a supervillain.
Yeah.
Which is why I do appreciate them using the 10 rings and, like, referencing the Mandarin, but not making him the main villain. If anything, I do think it does work more to have the main villain be Obadiah. And when I say that, I mean, like, because, alright, how many MCU movies have you watched, actually, of all of them? You know what, I'm going to go through all of them.
Go through all of them.
I'm going to go through all of them.
Okay.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Thor.
Yeah.
Captain America, the First Avenger. That's the one where he's in World War One.
I think so.
Or is it 2? It's World War 2, sorry. Yeah, 2.
I think so. Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
The Avengers, obviously. Iron Man 3. For the Dark World. You've got to speak out loud. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
For the Dark World.
What's that one?
The one with fucking Christopher Eccleston as Malekith, and Thor's mum gets killed, and there's like a big rip in space, and the fight at the end, I don't think it's that good of a movie. The fight at the end is cool, because it's Thor and this man guy doing this big battle, but they're going through wormholes. So they're going from Earth to this random other planet, and they're constantly fucking switching randomly, and they're getting like disorientated.
Don't think I've seen that one.
Okay. Have you seen Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen Age of Ultron? Sorry, Guardians.
Yeah.
Did I say yeah? Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen Doctor Strange?
I don't know if I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that one, actually. I don't think I've seen Doctor Strange.
It's a good one. You know who actually has an uncredited story on Doctor Strange?
Who?
Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon?
Yeah. You know?
Interesting.
Because that's actually a thing with Dan Harmon. He's got a bunch of those. He does a lot of uncredited work on random movies. And like there's this movie called The Adventures of Tintin. Have you heard of Tintin with the dog?
I've watched all of Tintin, yeah.
Yeah, have you seen the not live action, but it's like a CGI movie.
I haven't seen that, no.
Well, that movie is written by Mark Gatiss, Stephen Moffat, Edgar Wright, and an uncredited Dan Harmon. And I still think the film's shit. But that's just me. And I think it's directed by Steven Spielberg. Like, that was a major cast. Like...
Man, Tintin. I haven't seen... Because I used to watch, like, the classic animated Tintin.
I mean, I don't want to boycott Tintin or call him problematic, but he was definitely fucking the dog, right?
You're terrible.
He was definitely fucking his dog.
How could you say that? I can't even remember what the dog was called now.
I don't care. I don't care what a dog was called. My point is, I think he was fucking that dog. And hey, that's not okay. Look, let's look at another famous dog group. Let's look at Scooby-Doo. All right?
Yeah.
There's equal men to equal women in that group. Even if you would be like, well, Shaggy's probably fucking dog, you could be like, nah. Fred's got Daphne, so maybe he's fucking Velma or something like that. But this is just Tintin and his dog. He's fucking that dog.
Definitely not.
He's
Snowy.
a dog fucker.
It's called Snowy.
Is that the dog's name?
Yeah, that's the dog.
Yeah, he's a little dog fucker. I'm be honest. Hey, I respect it. I didn't say, actually no, I did say it was problematic. I don't respect it. Get a life, Tintin. Stop fucking your dog. But yeah, so Dan Harmon's, so Doctor Strange, after that it's fucking, does it go straight into Civil War? Yeah. Civil War. Captain America Civil War, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen fucking, Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yeah.
You haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming?
No.
Yeah. You actually, which is weird to me. Like, I know you don't like Tom Holland, but you do like Spider-Man as a character, so I'm surprised you just never, like, put him on in the background or something, or, like, watched him with your family.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
We'll watch them. You haven't seen Black Panther. Have you seen, what is it, Thor Ragnarok?
No.
You would fucking love Ragnarok, because Ragnarok reinvented the MCU in many ways. Like, alright, so this one, and we talk about it in the commentary chat, but I told you how in this one they didn't really have a script, man. Is a really famous Jeff Bridges. Yeah, they had like an outline, because that's how the Marvel comics have been run for decades now. That's the Marvel formula. A writer will write dialogue and write up a story. They hand all of that to the artist, and they let the artist go fucking nuts drawing. That's how Marvel comics works. Like, that's how they've always worked. That's how they managed to do so many of them. They do a writer to just do a little outline, and the artists are the one who like form the actual narrative and the direction of the story. They kind of did the same thing here. Like, they had an outline of a script, and they let Jon Favreau and the cast improvise a lot of shit. Once they did that, and the movie came out, they were like, okay, here's the thing. We want a very improvisational feel, but now we're going to need to completely script the entire thing and make sure all of it is completely planned, because we need to prepare for it to be improvisation. We can't just have it be improvised. It needs to be planned improvisation. And they do that from now on. Like, Iron Man was the only one that was incredibly improvisational. All the other ones are very heavily scripted and very calculated. Mm-hmm. Because they suddenly made a lot of money and they started the cinematic universe properly, and they were like, okay, we need to do it by the book now. No more fun.
No more fun.
Yeah, Kevin Feige stormed on set and went, alright guys, we're having too much fun. We're going to have to cut down on the fun. But then, when Thor Ragnarok, they got Taika Waititi. Have you ever heard of Taika Waititi? He is a very fun New Zealand director who's directed such films as What We Do in the Shadows, which is a fun mockumentary vampire movie about a load of vampires who live together in this mansion. It's a mockumentary, so they're all on camera, and they're trying to find a new roommate. They're just trying to live normal lives. They're all vampires.
It's vampires.
But it is a really fun movie. They did one called Hunt for the Wilder People. That was really fun. He's a really fun guy. He came in, and here's the thing. You haven't seen The Dark World, you said. The Dark World isn't that good. In fact, most people, including me, not including me actually, there is one I hate worse. It's most people's least favourite MCU movie. Like, the most bland, the most forgettable. The audiences knew this, but more importantly, Kevin Feige himself knew this. He was like, man, we got to do something about Thor. We got to do something about this guy. He's becoming a problem. So they hired Taika Waititi, and when Taika takes the reins, he's like, alright, here's the thing. this movie will be improvised. This movie is going to be fun. And if this movie isn't fun, then not only am I leaving, but I'm taking you all with me. which isn't a direct quote. But yeah, he came back, and the whole thing with him is that, yeah, his movies they also do have a lot of improvisation, but his movies are very fun. If you're going to bring in someone like Taika Waititi, you've got to go back to that. So Ragnarok was the first MCU movie since the first Iron Man to follow the same method. They didn't really, they knew what they wanted, but it is very improvised. You're allowed to, just, build off each other and, work on characters and shit. And because of that, Ragnarok holds a special place. Ragnarok is, it's 100% the funniest MCU film. Without a doubt, it is. But that's the thing. It's actually, a straightforward comedy, as opposed to, a superhero blank. No, man. This has the groundworks of just a really funny comedy, a buddy movie, where it just happens that one of them is Thor and the other one is Hulk. Because Hulk's in Thor 3. He's a main character in that. After that, we get... it's actually... This one's, one of the smallest MCU movies. So I wouldn't blame it if you haven't seen it. Avengers Infinity War. Have you seen Infinity War by chance? No, I don't think I have. I don't even think I've seen it. It's so small.
I don't think I know what that is. But you're going to have to, wake up out of the dream world and be talking to me about movies people have heard of.
You're right. I don't know why I mentioned that one. It's so small, and I think it flopped. I think it made 1.5 million in the box office. Yeah. But instead of 1.5 billion. But yeah, so Infinity War, and then we get Captain Marvel, which I know you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Because why would you? And I'm saying this as a fan of not only of Marvel as a company in the MCU, but also as a fan of the actual actress who plays Captain Marvel. I'm not a shrill. I think Brie Larson is a really great actress. She actually is. But here's the thing. Whatever she is doing and the company is doing with Captain Marvel right now in the MCU isn't working.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. They've taken the wrong approach to it. And the reason for that is because they've made her, overnight, over the course of a single film, and then she's in Endgame. They make her the most powerful person in the entire universe ever. She's God. She's a god, she almost, and yeah, it was a bad decision. And yeah, I don't blame you for not watching that. Then it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. You seen that one?
No, actually, I haven't seen that.
Alright, another one that is incredibly weak. The reason this one is weak, though, is because, the first Ant-Man didn't have that good of a villain, but it was still a fun movie. And, it was still written by Edgar Wright. They still used a lot of his script, even though he didn't get to direct it. So his influence is still very much in it, sprinkled in. Mm-hmm. The second one was completely original from the new director, Peyton Reed. And yeah, it's really fucking bland. The villain of that one is called Ghost. And she's someone who's been trapped in a different realm for a while. So she's shifting through dimensions, and she just wants to get back to normal and shit. But man, yeah, it's a really not compelling movie. That's all I can say. That movie came out in 2019. I've had plenty of time to watch it. I have seen it exactly twice. The first time I watched it, and then a couple of weeks ago. And I honestly, I promise you this, Hector, I actually mean this, unless we do a commentary track for it, I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. There is nothing it adds to anyone's life apart from existing. Which is a shame, but
unfortunately, some movies are just
it's true. And Ant-Man specifically, the third one's going to be different, because they're bringing in Kang. And I've told you about Kang. Kang's the new fucking pisser. The guy's going to piss on the Avengers. That's what Thanos was called. It's not antagonist, it's pisser.
Yeah.
The piss man.
Piss man.
And yeah, and then after that it was Far From Home, Spider-Man, which you haven't seen. Yeah. So yeah, so you've seen a good amount of them, but there are actually still a good amount you haven't seen.
Yeah.
But that is good, because you'll know, you've seen enough of them to know what I'm about to say is true. What this movie does that kind of sticks with the MCU is the idea of taking a character and making them bigger than your hero, but giving them essentially the exact same powers. Obadiah Stane as Warmonger is just a bigger Iron Man.
Yeah.
And they do that a lot in Incredible Hulk. Hulk versus Big Hulk. You know?
Yeah.
Like in Ant-Man versus another Ant-Man, smaller man. You know? Like, they do it a lot. It is one of the most tried and true things in Marvel. If you're going to introduce your baddie for his first movie, you might as well just pit him up against him.
Yeah.
You know, Doctor Strange, oh no, he's fighting another magician, you know? Another guy with magic, you know?
Green Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a blue 4. What's going to happen? But yeah, that they started that with this. And yeah, in a way, I think that was like, cause yeah, it does get a bit repetitive after a while, especially when you notice it. And you know, they haven't done it. I suppose, you know what? I'm actually bullshitting. They technically did. They actually did that exact same thing in Black Widow. They took the character of Taskmaster, who I told you about that, I ranted about it, is a real villain, like an actual proper person, like a really good character. And they made her...
Oh, man.
Once you notice it, it's not as good. But it is, like, for your first movie, when you're establishing the universe, yeah, it's the smartest way of introducing a character like Iron Man. Make it so it's obvious from the very get-go that it's his brains that matter, not the suit. Because, yeah, it is just... If anything, if it was just the suit, he would have been crushed. Warmonger it was like Iron Ape. Like, he was like a giant fucking gorilla.
Like gorilla, yeah.
Like, which, yeah, I mean, it's a cool costume, and Obadiah Stane is, like, it's Jeff Bridges, man. They had no script, man. Is how he talks in real life. It's just a really great performance.
Yeah. But it is. And yeah, it does prove that, you know. It's, you know, he would have lost down to Brawn, but yeah. He beat him with intelligence, which is, you know, he built the suits in the first place. He made an arc reactor in a cave with a
scraps. Box of scraps. At some point, he probably has made arc reactors powered by miniature arc reactors to make the ultimate arc reactor, you know? He's such a smart man. Talking of the smart man, actually. Yeah, let's get into the cast. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is probably, like, that's probably why the MCU is still, like, that's probably what really did it. Like, yeah, like, there's a reason why. Like, everyone loves Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, and, you know, you love, like, Wolverine, for example. But when those came out, there wasn't a clamour for a cinematic universe. This movie comes out, you get a character like Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr. It ends in that famous post-credit scene, which we skipped in the commentary track, because everyone knows it. Nick Fury comes with a fucking eye patch. I remember coming as a small child. I was a small child coming in my pants when I first saw it. And he's like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Once you see that, there it is. It almost, it's like, for an audience, it clicks like, holy shit, this character is one that I want to see interact with everyone. Yeah. Like, I didn't even realise it till now, but no, this character is perfect. This character is a part of a team already. Like, you can already see him with other heroes.
Yeah.
Which with Tobey, like, I mean, even when, like, the MCU was out and shit, like, imagine Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Not, like, older, but, like, actually his Spider-Man in the Avengers world. Yeah, there's just something about it. It just doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
But Tony is, not only is his character so much of he becomes, like, so much of an open book by the end of this, where, like, he's holding his morality and his emotions on his sleeve. But Robert Downey Jr. played it with such sincerity and with, yeah, just such relatability, because we talked about that in the commentary chat. Like, the guy's had a fucked up life, and he probably does relate to a lot of what Tony Stark kind of feels and went through from, like, you know, a man who should have died. You know, I reckon Robert Downey Jr. probably does think that. He probably does feel like a man who's probably, like, he probably felt like he was past his prime.
Yeah. And
it was perfect casting. It really was. And that's why 11 years later, when he eventually does die in Endgame, that's how you get a cinema full of people to cry. By making it that perfect of a character with that perfect of an actor behind it. you know?
With that ending line, the same one that starts it all.
Like
I am Iron Man.
Like Iron Man dying, that's that's really sad. Now, I've kind of picked on him a little bit in this one. I feel I do really like him. You should watch Ragnarok. Imagine if it was Thor who died in Endgame. Thor and Chris Hemsworth, they're both really great.
Yeah.
But there is something different. There's Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr., that pairing, that's built different. And again, it's probably because this first one was very improvisational. I imagine he put so much of himself into Tony Stark. And then, because again, it became very scripted, all of that stuff that he put into Tony Stark, he probably didn't realise how much he would have to keep going.
I think as well, when you grow up, that's what we grew up with. We grew up with the Iron Man's being released. That was like what got us into it. That's like, our childhood, what got us into the cinematic universe of Marvel. So to see that character dying is different than just seeing Thor dying. It's different to that because, it's totally different.
It is. And yeah, so Robert Downey was great. We talk about this in the commentary track too. The original choice to play Iron Man was Thomas Cruise. Is his real name Thomas? I can't imagine him actually being Thomas Cruise. He's just Tom. He's just Tom Cruise. He was born Tom.
He's just born as Tom, yeah. There's no Thomas.
Yeah, he's Tom. Yeah, Tom Cruise, which again, man, that would have been such a bizarre choice, in my opinion. Do you think he would have grown the beard? Because I don't even think I've seen Tom Cruise with a beard. Ever. When has he ever grown a beard?
He's usually clean shaved.
Yeah, I've not seen all the Mission Impossibles, but I genuinely don't think the man has ever had a beard. Maybe he can't grow a beard.
He has done like a lot of like sort of similar roles. Like what was the one where it was like the one where when he dies he respawns? Something
with Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Live, Die, Repeat or something like that. Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Like, I feel like that's kind of like similar sort of.
Yeah, I just.
Like, sci-fi. And what was that other one? There's a bunch of like sci-fi ones.
No, that's the thing. I think don't get me wrong. He's not, it's not as if I'm not saying he's a bad actor. And that's why I think it would have been weird. I don't think Tom Cruise fits the character of Tony. Like, he could have been someone else. Like, that's another thing. I mean, not to pick on the guy. We love you, Tom.
He is quite, like, serious as well.
Yeah, he's serious, but he's short.
Yeah.
So, like, imagine a very small Iron Man. Iron Lad.
Iron Lad.
An Iron Man the same size as Spider-Man in the MCU,
Yeah.
Like, because, just fucking Robert brings a different gravitas. Apart from Tony Stark, what hero do you think Tom could do in the MCU? Who do you think he could pull off?
The S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
What, like, Coulson?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I feel
like he wouldn't be happy with that small of a role.
Yeah, but I mean, Tom Cruise in a suit as like that sort of a character, that's fits. Like that fits.
You know how I was going to say? Don't get me wrong, I love Tom Hiddleston. I feel like I would have been quite interested to see him play a Loki. Because Loki has that two sides of it. He's got that serious side where he's like vengeful and Shakespearean, but then he has that manic kind of energy to him. And I feel like Tom Cruise can be manic. Have you seen Tropic Thunder?
No.
So it's a Ben Stiller movie that also has Robert Downey Jr. in complete blackface.
I think when you said that I was like, wait, is it that? Yeah.
Alright. Okay. Alright, let's quickly talk about that, alright? Because Tropic Thunder, for me, I remember this film incredibly well. I love this movie. It's really fucking fun. And not to get political, and not to say my opinion is better than anyone, but here is why Robert Downey Jr.'s blackface in Tropic Thunder is not problematic. Alright? Because it isn't, alright? His character that he plays, I don't remember the character's name, but the idea of that character is that he is the snobbiest actor in the world, and the most method actor. The idea is that he is an actor who is so far up his own arse. Not only does he believe he should be allowed to play African American characters, but the character isn't using blackface. The character has got plastic surgery and changed the pigmentation of his skin for this role. The character is not in makeup. The character is now a black man.
Oh.
Yeah. That's how far the joke goes in the film.
I see, right, yeah.
And again, I've always said shit like that matters with context. There was another one with Community. there's an episode of Community that you can't watch on Netflix. The only one you can't, because Chang, played by Ken Jeong, he from the one from The Hangover, he appears in blackface. Except this episode was about Dungeons and Dragons, and in the context of the episode, he isn't in blackface. He's in full black, like not like brown, black, like coal black. Yeah. Like it's fully like this microphone black.
Yeah.
And the idea is that he doesn't realise what he's doing is wrong, and he's cosplaying as a dark elf.
Yeah.
From the Dungeons and Dragons shit. Like context matters so fucking much.
But the problem is, most people don't care about that, and they'll just jump on.
This guy's back. Remember, this guy was in the first one. His voice cracked in the first episode too. Why is he back here? Get out, guy.
People would just jump on. Oh, black racism. That's what people do.
It's true.
It is what people do, and but when it goes the other way, it's fine. It's fine when they blackwash. Movies.
Let's not get too political. Like I brought this one up because I wanted to talk about Tom Cruise in that movie. So Tom Cruise plays a character in this movie, and here's the thing: until the very end of the movie, where the credits roll, you might have no idea that Tom Cruise was in this movie because he is fully prosthetic. Like he's got an incredibly fat face, a disgusting nose, and he's playing a disgusting snobby producer who has sent these soldiers, I said soldiers. The idea of the movie is that they're actors playing soldiers, but they get sent out into a real war zone.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a real war zone.
A real war.
Actors.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because they're just trying to get shots, but instead they're in the middle of an actual war now. And he's the one who sends them out there. In that movie, not only is it the prosthetics that will make you never know it's Tom Cruise, but it's the way he acts. He's so over the top. He even ends it with like this big dance. Like where his, not like a dance scene, just him dancing in his office. Like that, we'll watch that one day, but that scene, I think he could have been a fun Loki. He could have been a fun villain. Like he could have had that sort of manic energy.
Yeah.
But but no, we'll never know. And maybe Tom Cruise, maybe he'll join one day. Maybe we'll get fucking all of the big dogs. Maybe we'll get a Leo in the, MCU or a Brad Pitt.
The problem is they are getting on a bit now.
They are,
like, especially Tom Cruise. He is getting on a bit now.
They are, but with
even
Marvel,
Robert Downey Jr. Like you saw the lot. He's getting on.
Yeah, but with Marvel, because Marvel, especially nowadays, like if they wanted an actor bad enough, they'd just de-age him. They'd actually do it. They did it for fucking Nick Fury. Yeah. In Captain Marvel, Samuel L. Jackson is a main character, and it's how he looked in the 90s in like Pulp Fiction. Like they de-aged him for the entire movie. Like if they wanted an actor bad enough, like if they wanted a Leo and they did think he was a bit too old, they would just make him look a little bit younger.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm also talking. Well, I guess also like at how old Tom Cruise is now.
Yeah.
How much stuff is he acting in still?
He's doing well, I think. He's still very much. Mission Impossible is still much ongoing. Like there's number 7 coming out, and I think a number 8's also been confirmed. He was in that Mummy film, which wasn't good, but hey ho, he was in it.
The Mummy film.
Yeah, the Mummy. It was like a remake of the Brendan Fraser one.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh man, right. So this actually has a really cool, well, not cool, really terrifying, awful, incompetent story behind it. This movie production was so messed up that when they released the first trailer, they edited it wrong and accidentally left out a chunk of sound. Now, there's a big plane crash in the trailer where a plane is exploding, Tom Cruise is in it and he falls through the sky. Because they missed out on this editing and they fucked it up, in the plane crash, the screen's shaking, you can't hear the plane at all. All you can hear is Tom really echoed, going, ah! Ah! Just screaming. And then as he's falling through the sky, again, no plane noise, no like whoosh, just him. Ah! Just screaming.
Oh no.
Like, that was one of the worst trailer blunders I'd ever seen in my entire life. I don't know. I don't know how no one watched that trailer and was like, I think there's a problem there. I can show you it after. Like, I promise this is real. It's one of the funniest things ever when it came out.
That's insane.
But yeah, no, I feel like they could do. And, I mean, there are some big name actors. Like, big, like, A-listers. Or ones that were A-listers. Like, fucking Ben Affleck was Batman. You know, like, he was an A-lister. You know, before, as in like an A-lister before being the superhero. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is an A-lister now, but because of Iron Man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, ones that were already... I mean, Matt Damon's in the MCU, did you know?
I didn't.
Yeah, he has a cameo in Ragnarok where Loki has taken over Asgard, alright? He's pretending to be Odin. Now, here's another really funny part of Ragnarok, actually. Because Loki, you know, he's a villain, so you always think, you know, if he takes over Asgard, it's all going to be really bad.
Mm.
He takes over Asgard for about 2 years, and when Thor comes back, not only is everything going fucking great, but it seems that Loki's main shit is building statues of himself and setting plays. Like, he's just chilling, eating grapes. Like, he's just chilling. He really is. He's actually just chilling.
Himself,
like, so he does a play of his fake death that happens in the Dark World, which you haven't seen, but Loki fakes his death in that. And they have Matt Damon play the fake Loki.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so Matt Damon's in the MCU.
Matt Damon.
Fucking Matt Damon. Actually, we could quickly talk about Matt Damon for something. Have you heard his recent controversy?
No.
Alright, this controversy happened, again, this year, 2001. It's crazy to me that 1, this is happening now, and 2, he actually said this now. This was very recently, which is why we can talk about it now. This was like since the last podcast.
Okay.
He was having an interview and he brings up his daughter and he says this so casually, like it's relatable, alright? And 2021, I can't believe he said this. He was like, well, me personally, like I grew up in blank and for us, we used to use what the kids are calling these days the F slur against homosexuals. You know the word. Yeah. And he was like, for us growing up, we used to use it a lot. And, we, you know, eventually we stopped. Like, I remember last month, I used it in a joke. And at that point, someone should have stopped and been like, you said last month? But no one did. So they let him keep going. He was like, yeah, last month, I was using it in a joke. And my daughter, who's, you know, she's pretty kind of into that stuff. She was like, Dad, you can't say that sort of stuff. That's awful. And he was like, what? You know, I was like, what? It's a joke. I say it in this movie. I'm crying thing. And then my daughter went off and wrote this little essay about why it was bad. And once I read that, I fully understood. And I realised, yeah, my ways. What do you mean it took you till last month because your daughter wrote an essay to realise you shouldn't say that word? Really? What? But he, in 2021, was like, yeah, no, but then my daughter told me about it and like, you know, like I realised like, yeah, I was wrong. What do you mean your daughter talked about it? Where have you been? Where have you been that you were still going around and it wasn't until your daughter sat you down that you were like, what, people aren't using that word? I thought that was still the slang, you know? I'm down with the kiddos.
The kiddos.
That was an incredibly, like, that's so...
Cringe.
Yeah, no, it's cringe, but there's a specific word I'm looking for where it's like, that's it, out of touch. That is so out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
That you could be like, oh yeah, the F slur for the homosexuals that... Like, yeah, everyone knows the word you're talking about. How did you not know this? Like, how, and plus, if you were still using it last month, how often have you been using this word? You were using it in front of your daughter as a joke. How often have you been saying that word, Matt Damon? Why did you have to bring this up? No one was like, hey Matt, I love this movie, quick question. Have you been using the F slur recently? Like, no, you just brought this up.
Oh man, but I mean, that's the case with a lot of people. You know, a lot of people are still very homophobic.
But they're not homophobic because their morals are straight. That's by bad look. But yeah, no. Let's talk about the final cast member of the film, fucking Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts. Which yeah, they have, and I can't say this for the rest of the MCU, but specifically 2008's Iron Man. Awesome chemistry. Yeah. I really like them together, you know.
Yeah, it was very natural.
It was natural.
You naturally ship them, you know.
You do.
You're naturally like, hey, these guys should be a thing.
Hey, that's pretty good. It's what you find yourself saying,
yeah, you know? Yeah. And maybe maybe there was a bit of real chemistry on set. We'll never know.
We'll never know. Yeah, I mean, technically, we will never know. No. You know, but I mean, yeah, and I don't know. It's just like because we will watch all the others and shit. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it does. I think what it was, and this is actually, in my opinion, probably right. It's probably a really good guess. Actually, I'm probably very much correct.
Not to toot my
own horn, but I think I know exactly what happened.
Not to suck my own dick.
Not to lick my own arsehole.
Yeah.
But the main problem is that Gwyneth Paltrow has, and this isn't like an insult or anything, because why should she? She's like a 35, 40-year-old woman. She's just in the movies. She doesn't give a shit about Marvel. She doesn't care about any of this shit. She's not into superheroes. She forgot that she was in a Spider-Man movie in an interview. Jon Favreau, who directed this movie and is Happy Hogan in it, he was like, we were in Spider-Man. And she was like, no, we weren't. Yeah, you were! You were in a Spider-Man movie, Gwen. She doesn't give a shit about the MCU. And that's what's different, because I don't get me wrong, I doubt Robert was like a nerd or anything, but he eventually, like, yeah, once you play that character and you say those lines, you pick up the lore. Like, yeah, I'm sure he has a lot of Marvel canon in his head that he wasn't even expecting to have.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just, yeah. But, see, I think that's what happened. I think while he remained interested, I think Gwyneth herself slowly became disinterested in Marvel, which is why she takes a big break. Like, she goes from Iron Man 3, and you don't see her again until Spider-Man Homecoming. Because, yeah, people were like, is she not in them anymore? And most people were like, probably not. Why would she be? No, she doesn't care.
She doesn't usually do that.
She has a life. She's selling candles of her scent. Oh, okay? No, she doesn't care about Iron Man. It's true, though. Yeah, but yeah, she's in this movie. She's fine. Yeah. Let's talk about some of our because we're going to have to wrap this up in a minute.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of our favourite scene. What was your favourite scene in the movie? I think for me, and I think it's either when he first is flying, which, yeah, I mean, both these scenes are iconic, but it's either when he's first flying in the Iron Man suit and he's, like, doing the sonic boom through the air and stuff.
Or when he first gets into his first handmade suit. I think
and goes
scene,
to Afghanistan.
I think that scene, when he, when he kills
Oh, wait, do you mean the hot red?
Terrorists.
Sorry, do you mean when he, with the Mark 1, or when he does the hot red?
Yeah.
The Mark 1.
First
no,
one,
don't get me wrong, that's very iconic. I'm talking about where he gets the red suit and he goes back to Afghanistan.
Oh,
that's the one
and
I
then
made.
shoots them. I see.
Like,
yeah, I don't know. I feel like
they're both iconic, but for me, like that, because like the Mark 1 is great, but if you think about like the long-term MCU, it's that imagery with the hot red suit that's going to stand out.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's the Iron Man suit we all know and love,
But
nothing. I'm right.
Encapsulated within the movie, I felt I enjoyed the first. You're more attached because that dude dies, and you're like, oh my god, he's there for ages. It's like a big portion.
Yeah, Jensen.
It's a big portion.
Yes. I don't remember his name. I know it's a Yuri. It's not Yuri.
I can't remember his
name. I think it's like Jensen.
But he dies, and it's sad, and he's like, I want this.
Don't waste your life.
Don't waste your life. And then he fucking. The music cuts in and he comes out and just fucking whips out massive flamethrowers and just destroys
One thing I really appreciate about that scene is coming into it, like the don't waste your life and him coming out the cave. It becomes shot like a horror film. Because to these soldiers, they are now in a horror film. They're not being attacked by Tony Stark, they're being attacked by a massive robot with fire.
Yeah.
Like, no, for them, life has become a horror movie now.
Yeah. And that would be terrifying. Lots of flamethrowers were banned in World War II by the Geneva Convention because they were considered too inhumane.
But Tony Stark doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a fuck. He came out with giant
traumatize you. He doesn't give a shit about your mental.
Them up.
He will give you PTSD and he'll be happy about it.
To be fair, they locked him up in a cave and,
with a box of scraps.
Yeah, with a box of scraps. He had shrapnel in his chest, That they did that to him. So,
they did. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, we did just watch it, but I don't remember them ever saying sorry. I don't remember them being like, hey, sorry, man. Yeah. My bad.
They didn't say sorry. And this is one thing that I noticed as well. That guy that died, he single-handedly saved half the universe by doing what he did on that fateful day. Just by being a good person and saving Tony Stark, he saved half the universe.
Yeah.
So when you lied down and said, I'm okay with this. Yeah, man.
I get to see my family, you know?
You can be okay with this. You've saved half the universe. Good for you.
And, you know, I don't think because, you know, it's always different in the comics and shit. There's different interpretations. I don't know if there is a heaven in the MCU, but if there is, God knows he was looking down you know, when Tony did the final Endgame I Am Iron Man, you could tell Jensen was like, God fucking damn, I'm proud of that kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He went on and did it, you know?
That is not wasting your life.
Yeah.
That's directly the opposite.
Yeah.
That's...
Saving the universe is as far away
that's using
you
your
could get
life.
from wasting your life, yeah.
That's true. And yeah, and we're going to have to wrap this up soon. But yeah, and if you want to know more thoughts of ours on the film Iron Man, yeah, I mean... I've got to say it again, watch the commentary track. We talk throughout the film, bringing up shit that we love and going on little tangents and little speeches. And yeah, it's because it is a great film. And we will do this again. I think we'll try to do this, because this is episode 5. We could try to do it like once every 5 episodes or something.
And at one point, you probably will manage to convince me to do a commentary track with you on Tusk.
Yeah. Dude, we've got so many we could do. We can do Tusk. You haven't seen Ghostbusters?
I haven't seen Ghostbusters, yeah, I know. That's a shocking one. And as well the Spider-Man one, the animated one.
Yeah, Spider-Verse.
Yeah, there's loads.
There is loads.
There's loads. But that's good, because now we can do them on the podcast.
And please go and listen to it, because we want to know what we can do better with commentary tracks. Because I personally, I wanted to do something like that for years, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I very much want to do it again. So please, listen to it, let us know if you like it. And if you don't, let us know how we can change it. Is the setup too weird? Is it too echoey? Is the movie too shit? Because you're shit. You're wrong. The
movie's not the problem.
Should we give it a rating?
What, Iron Man?
Yeah. Would you rate it out of 10? Because I know mine. It's never changed.
I don't know, for lots of reasons. So now, moving away from just the quality of the material.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's more at
and
play.
Also the quality of the rest of the MCU.
Yeah, there's more at play than just the quality of the material. Because there's also, like, the iconicness and originality of it. And, like, how original it was. And, like, you know, what it was at the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the nostalgic feelings you get from it when you watch it. So I'd put it at an 8.5.
Yeah, very close. I'd put it at 9. Yeah. I think the first Iron Man movie as a standalone product is just fucking, it's just
really
awesome.
Good. Like, yeah.
And it's, I mean, I stand Iron Man 3, a lot of people don't like it, but even if I didn't, or whatever your opinions on the other two, Iron Man 1 is the best Iron Man movie. Like, that is peng.
Brilliant. It's, you know, it's the creme de la crop.
It is. Know? But that was episode 5. We hope you enjoyed it. You know, we hope you enjoyed listening. Again, go and watch Iron Man. Go and watch the commentary track. Go and watch... In fact, here's a quick suggestion. Go and watch all of the rest of our podcasts. And give us views. And we don't have ads, but you could just donate us money. Give us money.
In fact, I'm going to put my card details here. And I want you to just give me everything that you have.
Yeah. I'm going to put my card details too. But instead of like my sort code and account number, I'm going to put my actual... card number and you can use my money, but I don't want you to do that. Just send me money instead. Don't use my money. You'll get to, but don't do it, okay? But thank you for watching. Next week we'll be back with a new episode. We'll be able to talk about episode 8 of Rick and Morty, and we'll talk about whatever comes up in that time.
Yeah.
But until then, thank you for listening.